I can remember the first person I did the left handshake with was the national president, and it felt very weird and strange. And for the first time in my life, men that I've always seen as institutions, like very old people that would see to be my great grandfather, if I would say that, if I'm permitted, I had to shake them for the first time in my life, not just shaking them with, with my full on left hand, but with just two fingers, shaking them with the, sign of like welcome into the club.
I think it's about that time our fathers learn what a retirement really is. You can't be in active business. You can't be actively participating at the age of 70 to 80 in business when you have a child who is ripe enough to start championing and start piloting the affairs of that business. Even as much as you think that they are failing, you are on the advantage because you are alive to teach and correct. You are on the advantage to still navigate them. When they are going left, you tell them that this is not the time to go left. This is the time to stay on the path of straightness. When they are going right, this is not the time to go right. You tell them, stay in the path of straightness. When it's time for them to start to make diversions, you tell them, you're not supposed to be going straight, start to make diversions now. You are very privileged to still have them to still be in that space, to be able to pilot them. So basically, you are still piloting, but you are piloting from behind the scene.
Hello guys, this is Creative Law TV. I like an if I name it of man because now. So I know today that the youngest member of People's Club of Nigeria worldwide as of his time in the name of Ifeanyi Crescent Atama. Understand? So why the experience somewhere as of then Bob People's Club when the minds of the calibers gathered as a young boy, small boy kid, and he was inducted into People's Club of Nigeria. Let's hear from him. What I go? Why they go away for them?
My name is Mr. Ifeanyi Crescent Atama. Abomwa Chief Crescent Ugu Atama Balolo. Onwa na Nsukka. Onwa Obekube. Onwa worldwide. Onwa global. My escapade so far into the prestigious club of the People's Club. It's been a wonderful ride. It's been a very wonderful ride so far, so good. I couldn't have been more thankful. I've been opportune to meet very great minds, leaders, people that I have fetched from their from their wealth of experience, knowledge, wisdom. So it was on 2013, I can't remember the date precisely on this one. 2013, around the period when Dame Odumegwu Ojukwu they had just passed around that period. Or I think towards the period while they were planning his wakekeep. So, and my father then visited Onwa with some members of the club, some members of the People's Club, national presidents and some other prominent people of the club. And I can remember them calling me into the room. And my father asked me, and told me, sorry, brother, we would like to induct you into the People's Club. And I can remember telling him, if the club and if you, my father, finds me worthy, who am I? Who I be? To say no. And moving forward, at the time I had returned back from London, because he told me to come back for that induction because I was still schooling then. I was, I think, in my first year. So you can imagine how young I was. I was around 19 years old. So I had come back, and it was in our hotel in Abuja, and he got out the phones and he asked me, No, my dad is a very stringent person. He just said, sign here, sign there, sign there. I was trying to even still go through the form. It was like, when you're done signing. So I just signed everything that I had to sign at the time. And before he told me, okay, you can now go through the forms. And my mom kicked against it. My mom was like, it's that this club is a club for Oboni. And then my dad was like, no, that can the club be Oboni and he'll be bringing his own child into it. You know, it was just a lot of backlash here and there and all that kind of stuff. So finally, and the day I had signed the form, the next day was the induction. So that day, on the day of the induction proper, so my dad, while I was resting up, my dad came into my room and be as smart, casual as you can be. Wear one of your nice suits that you have around that you just came back with. Wear very nice blazers or suits that you have. And I told him no, no problem, because it was very particular of, probably me standing out. And then, on the induction, as of the time I went into the auditorium, and inductees had where they had to sit, and then somebody even at some point told me I should stand up and go to the back. Who was I to come and be making a case? I stood up and went to the back, even though even after I had gone through it page by page and I had gone through the names of inductees. I went through it and I had seen my name, so obviously I knew that I was among the people that were going to be inducted on that very day. So the person saw me, obviously because I looked very young as of the time, 19. He told me that, oh, I'm sorry, sir. He didn't even ask to say, are you among the people being inducted, or what's your name, so he can now go through the names of inductees, members. So he just told me, this place is for inductees, so go to the back. I just stood up carefully, respected my young self, and I went to the back. So finally, when all the traditional rulers and other statesmen, all the prominent figures started coming in, that was when the event was going to now start proper. So, and then my dad and some other people coming in and citing like where I was, trying to know, where is he? And then they looked and finally found me sitting behind. And then first thing he asked me, don't you know where the inductees are sitting? I told him I know, and I sat there, but somebody told me. It was like, find your way and come and sit here. So finally, while I was trying to come and sit again, that same man who told me, go to the back, came back and looked at me and said, are you among those that would be inducted? I said, yes. He said, but why didn't you tell me? I said, because I'm not sure you found me worthy enough. Probably you were looking at my age. So this emphasis on, I was actually the youngest member. I was the youngest member as of the time I was inducted. National level, international, so it's safe for me to say worldwide. I was the youngest worldwide inducted as of the time I was inducted into the prestigious People's Club. Yes. As young as I was, it's got to the time of the recitation of your oath, swearing your allegiance to the club proper. So I can remember when they said the new inductees should come out, and they should come out with their wives, because part of the criteria of being a member of the People's Club, I think as of the time I joined, but now I think they've been able to modify some of these things. I think it's been changed, because I know of some members, young people that have joined now and they're not married. So I think they've been able to twitch these things up a little bit. So, but as of the time I joined, these things, they were still very, it was still more, it was very active. So I can remember when they said the inductees now, or everyone should come out and come and recite your oath. So everyone just stood in awe and was looking at me like, where is that small boy going to? Does he know what he's going there to do? So, and the next thing beside me standing was the Minister of FCT, and then on my side was Pictures Holdings, yeah, the owner of Hotels, and some other prominent figures that were going to be inducted into the club. So, um, and then everyone had their wives behind them, because part of um, the process was your wife would put her left hand behind your shoulders, behind you, while you recite the oath, while you do the swear, and you take the oath of allegiance joining the club. But there was nobody behind me, because obviously I was not married. That was not what I was even thinking of at that particular time. So, but at the end of the day, when it came to my turn, I did my recitation, and they gave me the pass, because they had just realized that, okay, I think for them to have seen and found him worthy, for them to have seen and found him worthy, that means he should actually take his oath. And after I had taken my oath, I had to give my vote of thanks. So I had listened to every other inductees give their vote of thanks, and you know addressed the auditorium. So fortunately, when it came to my turn to give my vote of thanks, the entire auditorium went graveyard silent. I was almost frozen on that stage, because I was wondering, why was it that when this person spoke, the hall was kind of, still people were chanting and speaking around. There was no absolute silence. When it got to my turn, even the people serving food, the whole place was quiet, or just all of a sudden. And then I just realized that there was a young man standing on that stage, not knowing what he was going to say to the multitude of traditional rulers that has come from far and near. A lot of traditional rulers, but from the north, because I can recount, but I can't remember the caliphates or where kingdoms, some emirs that had attended, because as of that time they were inducting both people that were not Igbos. They had changed some things, like it was not going to be just Igbo people now that they were going to be inducting, because back in the day, People's Club were just predominantly Igbo moguls, business moguls that were being inducted into this prestigious club. But with my father being the chairman of Abuja branch, these narratives changed. They had to start inducting, people from other ethnic groups, tribes, cultures, and all of that. I just prayed in my heart, God, do not let me embarrass or disgrace myself or my family or my father. And by the time I had finished my speech, my vote of thanks, the hall was still quiet for a bit, and then a resounding thunderstorm claps from everywhere. Started watching reactions, and people were just, giving me the thumbs, low thumbs up, like that was great speech. And then I can remember the first person I did the left handshake with was the national president, and it felt very weird and strange. And for the first time in my life, men that I've always seen as institutions, like very old people that would see to be my great grandfather, if I would say that, if I'm permitted, I had to shake them for the first time in my life. Not just shaking them with, with my full on left hand, but with just two fingers, shaking them with the, sign of like welcome into the club. So it was, as much as it was very strange for me, but it was still very refreshing.
I think for the Igbos, we've not been able to hack transition when it comes to business. I would say this, and I will give you a very clear example why people go with the whole every rich Igbo man that has made money, they tend to think that he has made Ogwego, because the moment he dies, the business dies with him. Why? Because he has not learned. They've not come to hack that part to transition, because they have not let in. Why do you think that the Yorubas, the Hausas, or let me be particular on the Yorubas, they've hacked? Because why? I would use Glo Adenuga for example. His company is not a public limited liability company. It's still private. The company still still run the whole shares or whatever that is. I don't want to go business in this interview, but you can tell that should anything happen to that patriarch, you can tell that should anything happen to the patriarch, should he take a bow today or sometime whenever his God calls him, you can tell that that business will still stand as firm like nobody left. But when it comes to the Igbo families, we've not learnt transition. We've not hacked it. We keep failing. And there are people that we're supposed to learn from. Why? Because of the Igbo mentality, my sweat, my suffering. This person, this child, or this person, he's too fragile to be able to handle it. He can't handle it. He doesn't know what I have been through. Let's go. Let's go and teach. You teach thoroughly. You teach thoroughly. I don't believe in Ogwego, but this is the pattern. This is the pattern that has caused the make-believe of the Ogwego, because every rich Igbo man, most of them, when they die, they just die with the business name, and it looks like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's just that they have not had transition. So basically, I don't want to call names of businesses because I'm not in the place to call names of business. I don't want to stir up anything. But there are likes of businesses that were on the helms, that were on the zenith of chart of business empires in this country. But where are they today? The patriarch of the family dies and the business just goes down the drain. Because most of the businesses, they just die as soon as the patriarch is gone. And that's because they do not let in the family. Because why did you sweat? Why did you go through the whole struggle to put all this, to accumulate all this, if you would not let in to teach? I see in Igbo families, you see the patriarchs, you see the family heads, they turn 70, they turn 80, and they are still in active business. Why are you doing that? These are the times that you're supposed to be resting and you're getting, updates from the person, the younger generation, who you have trained to pilot the ship. You don't expect to be feeding a business at the age of 80. What are you going to be imputing? Of course, you are the head. You're the one that championed it from the get-go. But doesn't mean that you still have it at that age. Doesn't mean that you still have it. You piloted it. So raise the next generation who will still take it to the next level. You don't pilot it till you die. That's not how it's done. You have retirement. So there's a time you take the back seat and let the lion who you've trained, who was a cop, you let him take charge of the ship. He pilots it. I'm so particular about this with my tribe, with the Igbos, because I have seen this. Because at the moment I'm currently based in Enugu, and I have traversed Enugu. I have seen this happen in their numbers. I see parents just still playing the actor, playing the villain, playing every kind of character. They write the scripts, they produce, they are the top to bottom, they play all the characters in the movie. It's about time you start to share the roles. You share the roles. Let everybody have a part to play. I think it's about that time our fathers learn what a retirement really is. You can't be in active business. You can't be actively participating at the age of 70 to 80 in business when you have a child who is ripe enough to start championing and start piloting the affairs of that business. Even as much as you think that they are failing, you are on the advantage because you are alive to teach and correct. You are on the advantage to still navigate them. When they are going left, you tell them that this is not the time to go left. This is the time to stay on the path of straightness. When they are going right, this is not the time to go right. You tell them, stay in the path of straightness. When it's time for them to start to make diversions, you tell them, you're not supposed to be going straight, start to make diversions now. You are very privileged to still have them, to still be in that space, to be able to pilot them. So basically, you are still piloting, but you are piloting from behind the scene. You're just taking the back seat, but piloting. So your one scope is now championing. He's out there in the wild, and he's making the kills. So give them that hand. Just let go and give them that hand. Total autonomy. Give them the hand.